Hello, Alabama Crimson Tide. This is Martin Houston, and it is time for first response. Sorry, I had a little technical difficulty, so a few minutes late getting here started than we normally do right here on Tide 1029 fan page. But let me tell you, what a great victory by the Alabama Crimson Tide. Yeah, man, I called it for a 48-17 win, and hey, we could have got that many points had we been more effective in the red zone. But nevertheless, the Alabama Crimson Tide gets yet another big victory and moves to 8-0, 20 in a row victories. First 20-game win streak under Nick Saban here at the Capstone. Man, what a big-time win once again as Alabama takes down the Texas A&M Aggies 33-14. Hey, they covered the spread. I want to thank you for joining me. We've already seen a couple people saying that Mac Wilson was the MVP, but you know, you got to take what you can. People talking about Jonathan Allen, big-time return as that streak continues with 10 games in a row where Alabama has scored a non-offensive touchdown, and it just continues to happen right here. And who's that? Sean from Alaska, Fairbanks, Alaska. Welcome in. See people joining from all over. Hey, when you sign in, let me know where you're joining us from. What I want to talk to you about is, first of all, just some of the stats. Alabama, once again, falling just short of the 500-yard mark with over 400 yards in stats. Jalen Hurts went over 100 but fell back under 100 because of some play calling there at the end. Lost some yards, and that comes off of your rushing yards. So he didn't stay above that 100-yard mark. Damon Harris, 117 yards, 17 carries, 7.5 yards. Still don't understand why we didn't run the ball more. Welcome. That's Daniel from Mississippi. Welcome in. Mark Williams from Anniston. Man, we got people from Canada. This is absolutely awesome. Your Alabama Crimson Tide is not disappointing this year. Nashville, Pennsylvania, welcome into the house. This Alabama Crimson Tide team has what it takes to be champions, and we are just getting the opportunity to experience some big-time things. Welcome in once again from Cleveland and from Memphis, Cleveland, Tennessee, and Memphis. So, who's your player of the game? Who is your player of the game? I want to know who you are looking for to name as the Crimson Tide Player of the Week, Player of the Game, I should say. I have a couple different guys that I want to highlight in the game, but before I get into that, just a couple more things. At halftime, right before halftime, I sat here and I said, if we don't score here, talking about the kick, that they were going to score right before half and then come out and score and take a lead. Unfortunately, that was true. We got to do something about our inconsistency of our kicking game. When it counts the most, that's going to cost us somewhere down the line. But once again, other than those two drives, think about this. Other than those two drives, the one before the half, the one after the half, where they had a combined total of like 160 yards. They only ended up with 269 for the game. They had almost all of their yards on those two drives. So even though it looked like we were going to lose potentially at some point when we were down 14-13, the reality of it is this defense once again turned in another dominant performance. Offense, I'm kind of have mixed emotions on the offense because we totally dominated the game. We had 303 yards at halftime. They had 150 with 80 of them coming on one drive, and we should have been blowing them out. But when you don't get those touchdowns in the red zone, it makes it really, really tough to put a team away. And so because of the poor performance in the red zone, it ended up being a much closer game. And like I said, this team, though, once again responded, led by the true freshman quarterback. They go up 14-13, and a couple weeks ago, Nick Saban made the statement, if they score, you have to score. And that is what this team did. Jalen Hurts took this team down 20, and goes up 20-14. Jalen Hurts today, easily my player of the game. I had an honorable mention for O.J. Howard. He played a big role early in the game. They got him involved. He was a difference maker early in the game, so he's an honorable mention. I think that we could have dominated the running game, but once again, Lane Kiffin he sometimes he gets in his head that he wants to throw the ball, and he hurts this team. Even though I said on my show, The Morning Blitz, that he's the best offense coordinator in the country, and I still believe that because of his ability to adjust and use what he has. But however, we struggled a little bit in this game because I don't think we used Damian Harris in the running game enough. Damian Harris, once again, had over 120 yards, averaging 7.5, but he only had 17 carries. You got to give a guy who's that type of average, you need to give him 22, 25 touches a game and see what happened, because he was literally steps away from breaking a couple long plays. But overall, offensively, we were able to rebound in the second half, do what we needed to do. What a great run. Jalen Hurts counting for 3 touchdowns, 2 on the pass, 1 O.J. Howard, 1 to Calvin Ridley. But the run that he made once again shows his maturity level, his dual threat ability, and is just absolutely a dominant player at the age of 18. I think he's 18, true freshman, leading the Crimson Tide. Let me see. Someone here, Tanya, telling me that she got somebody that's going to be joining the Crimson Tide family. So, Tanya, tell your daughter we said congratulations and welcome in. Once again, I want to remind you that you can get in on this conversation right here on Facebook Live by posting your thoughts, your comments from the game. I want to flip over to the defensive side of the ball. This defense, once again, was dominant. Tim Williams was, as one of our listeners already said, was definitely on point. And Mal Sutter saying that that's who their player of the game would be Tim Williams. He definitely did some things. A guy who I think really played at a high level today, he won't have the stats to show it, but that's Ryan Anderson. There were several times in this game where he applied the pressure that forced Travis Knight out of the pocket or up into the pocket, and other guys made big plays. Couple big plays by Deron Payne that we won't really talk a lot about, but the knockdown tip passes were right on point for when they were made. Pushing the pocket, getting the hand up when you can't get to the quarterback had definite impact. But the guy who I have to give the defensive player of the game would be Jonathan Allen. That was a great play. Strip calls by Ryan Anderson. Jonathan Allen scoops. Showed his athletic ability, avoiding the first guy who attempted to tackle him, and then outrunning the second guy for yet another defensive, non-offensive touchdown. The streak continues. But of course, with that said, the concerning part that I leave with that defense is our captain. And when I say captain, he's not necessarily an official captain. He could be, but Eddie Jackson being carted off is really concerning because just because of his athletic ability, but because of his leadership and his explosive plays when he intercepts the ball and are on punt return. So don't know what the story is, but a lot of times you can read a player's reaction and know that even if it's not serious, how serious they think it is. And Eddie Jackson looked like a man who thought that this was a really, really serious injury. Coach Saban saying at the end of the game that he hadn't seen the x-rays yet. I was concerned that it may be broken, but hopefully not. And hopefully this rest will give us a chance. And someone pointed out John Horton Jr. What a play by Jonathan Allen on the Superman play. If Daniel Moore want to paint an awesome picture of a sack, sort of like he did the Cornelius Bennett sack from years ago. That would be a great picture if someone got it right in the middle of that. So, and last but not least, the thing I want to talk about is Matt Wilson on special teams. It's like every year we see this guy come along that shows us that when our next alpha dog, who is Reuben Foster, when he moves on, that we're going to have somebody to take his place. Matt Wilson on those kickoff coverages, absolutely annihilating Speedy Noel. What a hit, what a play. And, of course, I really dislike listening to Vern and Gary, because they get on stuff and when they analyze the game, they're really good, but they get on stuff and they just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going on it. And they wouldn't let the targeting go. They got a call from Birmingham telling them that it was not targeting because he did not hit, because he was not a defenseless player. But they kept bringing it up even after the player was thrown out that hit Damian in the head because he was defenseless. So anyway, it is what it is. Want to close up by just telling you a couple big plays I think turned the game around. Damon Harris started off great, couple big runs early, let us know that we're going to be able to run the ball. But the big play on defense, I think, was a game-changing moment by Jonathan Allen, because not only did it give us a cushion, but it also inspired this offense that dominated the rest of the game. So just a couple things that we need to work on and be thinking about as we go into the offseason is the kicking game on extra points has to get better. Our special teams coverage was better. I still think we need to do a better job on 50-50 balls, and our inability to finish drives today was a little concerning. So hopefully we will get that taken care of, and we have got to get the deep ball. I am a little concerned that Jalen, after 8 games, has not been able to get the timing right. If there's any knock on a true freshman, I'm careful not to put him down about it, but he has to start hitting the deep ball. We just missed too many opportunities. We live in too many plays on the field because of his overthrow. He did finally connect on the one to Ardarius Stewart, put a little air under it. So we need to improve in that area. I will give Cam Robinson and Jonah Williams a shout out on the job they did on both sides. And I think Brandon Kidd here reminded me he felt like Cam played much better. I do believe that they both played at a high level today because of the lack of pressure and sacks that were given up to those two defensive ends. So great job by them. And Alabama Crimson Tide, 8-0, 20 in a row, 10 straight games with a non-offensive touchdown. It's impressive what they're doing. The 12th non-offensive touchdown of this season, 10 defense, so they just keep adding them up. I want to remind you that even though Alabama doesn't play next week, Tide 102.9, 100.9. If you're not familiar, we've added another station in Tuscaloosa, Tide 102.9 and 100.9, as well as Tide1029.com. We will still be there all next week, even though it's open week. I'll start things off on Monday from 6 to 7 a.m. on with the Morning Blitz. I want to encourage you to give me your good, bad, and ugly. Just a couple things. My good was Ryan Anderson and Jonathan Allen connecting. I have a lot more, but that's just the one I wrote down. I thought we did a bad job on play calling today. I thought Kiffin took a step back today with this offense. The quarterback never should have ran the ball 21 times today. The running back should have ran it a lot more. Most of his plays were negative to minor plays. We should have been feeding the running backs who were having a lot of success. And my ugly at this point, and I'll go back and look at it, is our red zone offense was really ugly today. Hey, we got a big game coming up in 2 weeks. LSU, everybody's talking about how improved LSU is. We'll see if they're really improved or if they just play two sisters of the poor with Southern Miss and Missouri. There's a lot of excitement around the program. This would be the biggest test for Alabama coming up. Why? Because it's the next on the schedule. But, hey, we got 2 weeks to enjoy being the number one team in the nation without any threat or harm coming to us. So congratulations to Coach Nick Saban, that 2016 Alabama Crimson Tide for the sixth time in 9 years. The last 9 years, Alabama going into November with a undefeated record. Can they run the table? They have the makings of a great team. We'll make the judgment at the end if they can finish, but they have all the tools to do that. I want to encourage you to join me each and every weekday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. Follow at the Blitz 1029, at the Blitz 1029 on Twitter, and also like my personal fan page, not my personal page, my fan page, and it's facebook.com/martinhouston.org. That's facebook.com/martinhouston.org. And glad to be with you each and every week. Hey, remember, you can send me thoughts, comments, ideas, etc. anytime you want. You don't have to wait to First Response. But, hey, this has been First Response Post-Game Show with Martin Houston. Alabama Crimson Tide, the number one team in the land, continues to roll 20 in a row. 10 games in a row with a defensive or non-offensive touchdown. And, hey, they remain the number one team in the country. Once again, Alabama 33, Texas A&M 14. And for all of you who were worried about whether Vegas had it right, well, it jumped up to 19 immediately after game, and Alabama managed to cover the spread. This has been First Response with Martin Houston. We'll catch up with you in a couple weeks as Alabama travels down to Baton Rouge to take on the LSU Tigers. Will LSU Tigers still be on a win streak? I hope so the Tide can bring them crashing to the ground. Roll Tide, and have a blessed weekend.